morning. I trust your weekend has gone well. I had a good weekend and worked, allow God to work in my life. So, I want to make just a few comments about sermons that I've already watched. I've watched them without your manuscript, without your outline. I watched them as a listener. I have just a few comments. The way I keep track of time is that I use a little desk clock like this, and hopefully can use this wire, or whatever it happens to be. This one happens to be a plastic one, but another one I have has a wire. And I someplace attach that to the sermon, the lectern, whatever I'm using, so that I can see it without the audience knowing that I'm watching it. When I look at my watch like this, then it's obvious. Or if I look up to see what time it is on a wall clock at the back of the sanctuary, it's becoming very obvious. So then my personal response as a listener is I want to look at my watch and see what time it is, or my phone, so that I'm distracted. Yeah, that's the word I want to use. In that sense, we need to be sensitive to the time. I'm not penalizing you if you're a little bit off on your time. Once you get in the rhythm of regular preaching, you somehow internally are able to say, here is my 25 to 30 minutes. I liked what Dr. Robinson used to say. I loved him as a friend, as an instructor, but I also was a coach for preaching students that he had. So he said, if you're long one Sunday, compensate within a Sunday or two that you have a shorter sermon, and cover your material, but just it helps people to understand, we got out 5 minutes early today. So that's just a little clue about timing. Big idea. Well, I've made some comments, but I find I need to repeat it 3 or 4 times in my sermon. It isn't necessarily precisely the same each time, and I'm not concerned about whether a person can recite it, but I would want to be able to ask them on Monday, what did I preach on Sunday, and them to give me the nugget of my focus. Now, they probably will not repeat the big idea as you said it, but they may. But then you understand that you are communicating well and people are grasping it. Something else, I believe it was Dr. Robinson taught me, was that when we talk about the past, we tend to do it with our left hand. I used to go to such and such a store, but now I go this way. But for my listeners, we need to reverse that. So when I'm talking about before this event happened in Luke, and I'm too close to the camera, I need to use my right hand because that you see it as left. And then when I talk about the future, that I use my left hand. Now that seems awkward at first, but I chuckle at myself on this because I have worked on that for so many years that I find it difficult to do the normal way. But anyway, that's just kind of a fun thing, and it's kind of the difference between saying no, yes. It's confusing when our body language does something different than what we are anticipating. Rubric, if you can't read my little writing, shoot me an email and help me find where you're at, and we'll work on it. If you have any questions about what I've written on your rubric, always feel free to call or email about it. Another thing I've learned through preaching is that when I rub my face, it's distractive and people watch my hand rather than what I'm saying. So, and the itches that come are unreal when you stand up. I think it's a nervous aspect. So, just a few little things. God bless you as you wind up this week. Of course, we have the you post your sermon and then you watch the next two peers' sermons. So I posted that list in the written part. God bless. Have a wonderful week.